So losing my dad was obviously unfortunate, but my father was a very it's hard to explain my dad and his personality, but he talked about dying a lot even before he had any kind of health issues. It was just something that was not like a taboo subject for him. He spoke about it quite often, and I already had my set of instructions of what I had to do, if that makes sense. And my time as a student ended, and my time to become a teacher kind of began. So when he died, like, I became paternal. I wanted children. I didn't really want kids before that. When he died, I kind of thought I need to, speak my opinion more and teach what I know about life. And it's an unfortunate part of life, but it's the natural order of things. It's how it's supposed to go. I mean, it would be far more devastating for me to die before him. That's the way it's supposed to be. And you have to accept that that's God's plan, I guess. And, but yeah, it was certainly a difficult time. I have obviously amazing memories of him. The best thing I love most is talking about him like we are now, because he was such an unusual person. People say, what was he like? And I'm like, I can't describe him. He was strange in every possible way, but he managed to pull it off somehow. So he was a very unusual character.
Yeah, like,
but I think if he was alive now, he'd be pretty impressed.
To tell one story of him, just because he was such an unusual character.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to even tell stories of him. Just being around him all the time. I remember whenever I was around him, I was kind of on eggshells all the time, because it was very easy to get on the. He was constantly correcting, like, all of the time. And people think that as like in a bad way, but I really do like to say that my father was one of the smartest people who's ever lived. And I say this, and I'm not just saying it because I'm his son. I've been around a bunch of smart people. I've been around a bunch of millionaires. I'm rich now, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, my dad was a different level of intellect. He was just fucking strange. And it was crazy how smart he was. He had a genuine photographic memory, could memorize the fucking dictionary. The guy was nuts. And he used to say the simple things like I'd say my brother was starting to learn Russian because he had some Russian girlfriend, and my dad obviously spoke Russian. And he'd say a few words in Russian, and my dad would say, "Why are you talking to me in Russian when you don't even speak English?" And we'd be like, "What do you mean we don't? What do you mean we don't speak English?" And then he'd start just reciting words from the dictionary, and not just for like 5 minutes. I'm talking about for the next all evening, from 7 p.m. till like 1 a.m. He's sitting there asking you the definitions of words that you've never heard of ever. In your history, and you're just sitting there going, I don't know. He's like, well, why don't you get a firm grasp on the English language before you sit there and try to jackass around in Russian? You don't even know English properly. And it's just who he was. So you end up by trying to impress him a little bit when you had this girlfriend and a Russian chick, you end up getting told off and sat in front of a dictionary for weeks because you're a dumbass. And it's just kind of how he was. But yeah, he was super intelligent, and he was strange to be around. But yeah, obviously I miss him tons.